You're listening to episode 147 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman. Hi and welcome to this episode of the Small and Supercharged podcast. It's a solo with me, and today we're going to talk about all the voices. And I'm chatting about this today because it's something that over the various lockdowns, but definitely over lockdown 3, I've seen an awful lot more noise on social media, and I think it's something that I know I've been affected by in the past. Not so much this time because because I've been through it and I want to share it with you now. But I know of how many other people have been affected, confused, all of those things really by it. And I just wanted to just share my thoughts on it really. And I mean, it comes as when I'm recording this, I'm trying to think when this will be out, but when I'm recording this, we're having our first mindset masterclass via Zoom in Mastermind tonight. And with lovely Jane Brindley, big shout out to you, Jane. I know it'll have happened way after you hear this, but we're working on that and having a mindset masterclass via Zoom each month. And we're talking about overwhelm tonight. And I think it just ties in perfectly with the voices. And what I mean by the voices, it's not just people calling you, talking to you, that kind of thing. But I don't know about you, I have seen so many do this course, do this live training, do this free training, do this on social. When I scroll through any of the platforms I'm on, I see a lot of not just posts and not just content, but ads around it as well. So it's from people that I don't know either. It's not just someone saying, oh, I've got a course on such and such, but I've followed them for ages and I'm interested in what they do. It's everybody trying to promote a course about everything. And obviously I say this as somebody who does have online courses, who, has the mastermind group. So I feel like in many ways I'm probably adding to that noise, but I am very careful in terms of how often I talk about it. And I have been thinking, to be honest, of running a little 5-day challenge. I've done a few before, they've done really well for a while now. But I'm also very aware that I don't want to add to this feeling of overwhelm for people because it's a real thing. And, when you open your social media, and we know that social can affect us in lots of different ways. We can see people with their seemingly perfect lives, and that can make us feel less than. But we can also see people saying, this will generate you 6-7 figures. This will make your life easier. This will do this. You need this because. And we can feel less than. We can feel like we're failing. We can feel like we're being really stupid for not doing things. And it can be really negative. So I wanted to just share some kind of thoughts on it today, really, and I would really love to hear your thoughts as well. As always, if you're listening, please do screenshot, share to stories, and tag me if you tune in. And if you want to send me a DM, or if you want to put publicly that you've had this issue, brilliant. If you want to send me a DM, I'm very, very interested to hear, because I know it's not an isolated issue, and I just wanted to just chat through it and just chat through my kind of take on it as well, just from a point that it might help. It might help somebody. And if you're thinking, oh God, I felt like that already, brilliant. My work here is done. You're not alone, far from it. And that's what I want to really share with you today. So, as I said, I've seen an awful lot more on social during lockdown 3. And a lot of it's free stuff. So it's do a free course, do a free webinar, come to a free training series. It's not stuff that costs you money. Of course, what it is really is it's a funnel to encourage you to buy a training course, buy an online program, whatever. And don't get me wrong, I do not object to that at all. It's a good way of marketing to people. It's a great way for them to get a taster of what you do without them having to commit any funds. It's great. And there are some incredible ones out there. I have done, I've been on free webinars with people like Jasmine Starr, with Amy Porterfield, Jenna Kutcher, and they're amazing. And the great thing is that I always take something really useful away from them. That's a really important thing. Those ladies are just, they're pretty flipping good. I do have a lot of time when I listen to their podcasts. I think they're really iconic and really interesting. And whenever I go to any of their webinars, any of their sessions, I know I'm going to learn something. Yeah, there will be a course or a program or a membership at the end that they're trying to promote, but that's completely fine. I know what I'm signed in for, but the key is that I get something really valuable out of it. So it's not to say that all these amazing things that are being offered aren't valuable. In the right place, to the right person, at the right frequency, they can be hugely, hugely valuable. So it's not a case of saying all of this is rubbish, because it isn't. But what I would like to put forward, and what I do and what does work for me, is applying a bit of a filter to all the stuff that you see. So one of the key bits really is knowing your strengths. So if you know that you're really strong on social media, if you know that you are really good at building your mailing list, if you know that you're really good at writing captions, then if you want to do a course to improve your skills, brilliant. But if you're doing 10 free webinars about something you already feel quite confident about, it can potentially knock your confidence a bit. If you've got 10 different things you're listening to with 10 conflicting ideas, I think if you aren't sort of confident in what you're doing, and you're not confident in your strengths, and you aren't really passionate about that, and you're really, I keep saying confident, but I think confidence is the right word, in your skills, that could wobble you. And there's nothing to say you were doing anything wrong in the first place. I'm all for continual development. I do a lot of trainings, I read a lot of books, I do courses, you know all the things that I do, but I'm really careful where I get that advice from. So the ladies I mentioned previously, I look up to all of them. I think they're really incredible, and I know they know their stuff. I would not be doing a course on anything to do with social media from someone who I didn't know, and I didn't look up to, and I didn't respect, because realistically that's not going to help me, because it's much more likely to overwhelm me than to help me. Now, there are some amazing social media courses, and if you want any help with picking some good ones, please do shout at me. I mean, I obviously I'm very biased towards Mastermind, because I think it is the best, because it's brilliant, but also the 3 ladies I've mentioned do amazing things, and even Facebook itself does a really cool blueprint program that you can do for free, and you can go through their courses and upskill. But all of those to me are really valuable. But if I'm doing, grow your social media, grow your whatever by how many thousand, from someone I don't know who's got a small following, I have to kind of question whether that's going to work for me. And also, I can grow my following. It's growing it the right way, which I'm interested in. And again, you have to look at what's going on. So think about your strengths and be proud of those strengths. It doesn't mean you're not going to improve and develop, but it's more a case of knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're confident with, and then thinking about who can help you go to the next level, rather than just thinking of who is throwing information at you, because the two are not the same at all. They might feel the same, but they're really, really not. And that's when we go on to being careful who you choose. Choose your handful of experts. And the handful bit is key here. I know I'm saying this to you as someone who, says they are. I know I am a social media expert. I'm a Facebook lead trainer. I'm an award-winning PR advisor. I feel quite confident in saying that, because I've got the credentials to back it up. But make sure that the people that you decide to invest your time or your money in are ahead of you, that they know more than you do, and that you trust them and that you know them. And this is a bit like, when we talk about working with brands, picking ambassadors, we always talk about this kind of process that we go through to make sure they're the right fit for us. We follow their content. We interact with them. We look at how they're doing things. We look at how they're growing. And with an expert, look at these things as well. How are they growing? What's their social like? Do you like their social? Because if you're doing, I keep referencing social, but of course there's lots of different courses out there on everything you can imagine. But if, for example, you're looking at someone's doing a social media course or doing a social media training, and you look at what they're doing and it jars against you, You think it's just not you. There may be nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but it's not you. It's not in a tone that would really work for you. The images are all stock images and you like your own images. It's all memes and funny quotes, which will absolutely grow a following, but will it grow a business? These are the things I'd be asking myself. I'd be looking and I'd be thinking, do I want to emulate in any way what they're doing? Is there anything about what they're doing? Is the engagement really good? Do they make amazing videos? Like, what is there that I want to get better at? I want to be more like, but with my own spin on it. And if the answer is nothing, I won't be doing that course. I won't be even signing up to the free training because it's just not going to add value to me. And I know that's a bold statement to say, and it might be another time I will get more value from it, but at that moment, not so much. So do your research. You sign up to their mailing list, look at their website, follow them on social media. Because if you're going to be investing your time, and even if it's not money, your time has a value. If you're going to be investing an hour of your time, think about how much that's worth. And more than that, if it's an hour of your time that then confuses you, makes you second guess yourself, even kind of paralyzes your progress on whatever, on wherever you are, that's really costly, isn't it? That's a really expensive free training. So do your research, watch their stories, watch their videos, seek them out on all the platforms, sign up, and just get more of a feel for their tone, for how they operate. If they've got a podcast, all the better. Find out how they operate. I know, I feel like I was talking about Jasmine Star today, but I know I was just before I started recording this listening to a Jasmine Star podcast. I really like her. She just does the work. She does the work. She's very logical. I really like her. And I like to learn from her. And I listen to her podcast when I'm walking or, when I'm trying to tidy the office. And I learn something. I like her tone. She's clearly incredibly knowledgeable. She does the work. That's who I am interested in. I'm not going to be feeling like that about everybody. So do the work. Think of it as an investment in your time and therefore money, because, time really is money. And do the work. Think about it. Do the work before you commit your time. It really is important. And then when you've done that, you will get a sort of handful of people in your head that you want to hear from, you want to learn from them, you want to grow and become better using their skill set that they're going to teach you and they're going to share. But think carefully about your handful, she says. That does not sound right at all, does it? Think carefully about your handful. Quotes to live by. Because if the handful is too big, you are likely to have too many voices and get overwhelmed, because people will teach things in a different way. And it doesn't mean anyone's wrong either. People will teach things in a slightly different way. They'll use different wording. They might have a different take on it. They may have things in their business that have worked well that someone else doesn't talk about because something else has worked well. And this doesn't mean that anyone is wrong, but there's just too many ideas there. And that can become I think of it a bit like if you're standing in a place, sounds weird, going out to a place where there are people. Not like we've done that for the last year. And you have a few people speaking to you. You can keep up with that conversation, can't you? You can hear people speak. They take it in turns. There's not too many. It's all good. If you're stood there and you've got 50 people all talking to you, it's really difficult to pick out a conversation and to focus on that conversation. And I think that that's what can happen with, as I said, the voices, with all the content that's available, with all the free courses, free this, free that. It's like 50 people shouting at you all the time. And it's important that can be, I just think that can be it can be overwhelming. It can prevent you moving forward in what you're doing because there's just all the noise and you can't pull the threads of conversation out to action that, to try it, to learn from it, because there's just so much. So think about your handful of people, and it doesn't mean that when someone advertises and you see it that you just discount them, but maybe put a bit more work in to make sure that they are teaching you something that you really want to hear about. Also think to yourself, do you need this? Do I need to know about this now? And I know during the various lockdowns, a lot of people have had more time on their hands because they haven't been able to open their premises or go out to do work or whatever. And definitely doing something in that time has been really good because you do feel like you're developing and that you're progressing. But you do also have to think, do I need this input? Have I got too many of these inputs on the go? I've got a couple of courses on the go. No, actually, I finished one. I have got a couple of courses on the go at the moment, but they're very different, and I want to improve in both of them. It's not social media related. It's a different aspect of digital marketing, both of them, which is really good, and I'm really enjoying them both. But there are two things that I want to improve on that I feel like I need for my business to kind of keep moving forward, in a slightly different area, admittedly, but all good. But think about, do you need this? Do you need this input? Have you already got inputs that you trust and that you want to expand and grow with? Or do you need a new voice and a whole new set of ideas? Or do you even need help in that area? Are there other areas where your time could be better spent, that you want to grow in, that you don't know a lot about, or you don't know as much as you'd like to know about, rather than almost going over stuff you already know, but with a different voice that could become quite confusing? I hope I'm making sense. As I said, if you are listening and going, oh, I understand this, please do screenshot and let me know, or please do drop me a DM, because I think it's a subject, and I hope I'm explaining myself well. And it's not to say that there are not amazing resources out there. There are a lot of amazing resources out there, but it's also really easy to get overwhelmed by it all, which can have the negative effect. You want to be growing and progressing. That's why you're doing these courses, these webinars, this online training. You want to be deepening that knowledge, but don't try and deepen it in every possible area at the same time. And I would also suggest not doubling up on exactly the same thing with lots of different people. Maybe there's a couple of different inputs, a couple of different takes that work well. But if you've got 10 people talking to you about the same thing, it's going to become quite confusing if they're all talking about slightly different takes on it. And as I said, it doesn't mean any of them are wrong either. Also, as I know I've mentioned before, free has a value. Being part of a free webinar, a free course, it has a value, not in terms of you're giving money, because if it's free, but you are giving your time. Whether you give your time watching the webinar, you give your time completing the courses and the challenges, you've given over your email address, obviously, to be, involved in that if that's the way it's going. So even the free stuff, it has a value. And again, as I said a bit earlier, more than the obvious value of it's taken me 3 hours, I charge whatever an hour, it's cost me X. It can have the other issue of really stunting your growth in areas, because it can have this effect of paralysing you and just making you really doubt yourself, doubt what you know, and doubt your knowledge. And we want to grow in our knowledge, we want to deepen our knowledge, but if we have too many conflicting voices, it can just make us doubt everything. So even a free thing has got a value. What else could you be doing in that time that would help you move the needle in the direction you want? If it's that this free webinar, free course is going to do that, then amazing. But if it isn't, really think about it. Because it's free, it does still impact on you, It's lovely to go on a free webinar that really helps you, but it can undo a lot of good work if it's the wrong thing. Another thing I said, there's more than one way to do something. Everyone's unique journey and unique path allows them to pick up tips and tricks that not everybody has. If we think about the different professionals in our daily lives, there are probably a group of professionals that do different things. If you've got back pain, there's probably, how many? There's a lot of different people you could go for to help you with that issue. And some might work for you, some might not, and it probably depends on exactly what kind of back pain, but there's not one size that fits all for everything, and there are lots of different options available, which is brilliant, but it can be overwhelming. So just be aware there is more than one way to do something. There's always more than one way to do something, and there's more than one right way to do most things as well. It just depends on all the different inputs going in there as to what you're going to get. So I hope that has helped. It's something that's been on my mind a bit because I've been seeing a lot of it, and I've been seeing a lot of the kind of effects of it as well. And as I said, I don't want this to be negative because I think it's incredible there's so many free ways to learn. You know, I've done podcasts, I'm sure, about free ways to learn, and it's probably something I should revisit. Write that down. Something I should revisit because there are so many free resources online that really there is no reason why you can't grow and develop in whatever way you want, even if you don't have the budget to do it. You can learn some tricks and tips, try them and improve, and you can keep doing that. There are amazing free resources online, or even low cost ones in terms of books or things like that. It's amazing what we have access to, but that doesn't mean we need to have access to everything. You know, a bit like a sweet shop, isn't it? You go in, there's loads of amazing things, but just pick a few because you're going to make yourself ill if you eat them all in one go. That's real life right there. So just think about that too. If you have too many voices, especially ones that conflict, it could be very difficult to make the progress that you want to make. I hope that's helped you. I'd love to know your take on this. Have you seen this? Do you resonate with this? Is this speaking to you and you're nodding your head along with me? Let me know. And I know when I've been talking about all the different voices, I'm going to give Mastermind a plug because the great thing about the group is that everything in there that I put in, that I work with other professionals on, like the mindset masterclasses via Zoom, they're specific themes. Obviously, it's either my voice or whichever we're speaking to, but again, that comes from a place of knowledge and you know, a lot of years in the trenches. And I like to think it's kind of a curated place for really, really good, useful information that's going to help you get to where you want to go. So if you want more information on that, please do hop over to riafreemanpr.co.uk and you'll see Small and Supercharged Mastermind along the top too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been useful. And if it has spoken to you, just take a big old deep breath. You don't have to go to all of the things. You don't have to do all the courses. Just take a deep breath. You're going to be fine. You're pretty flipping fabulous as it is. Take care and we'll speak really soon.